Now, I'm probably going to get a lot of stick for what I'm about to say, but at the end of the day, it's the truth. It's backed by evidence, and it's my way of interpreting things as well. So exercise isn't actually needed for fat loss to occur. Hear me out for a second. So a lot of time, people tend to go in the gym and focus on the amount of calories that they're burning off because they assume that that is going to cause them to lose weight. Now, you're right. Exercise does actually cause calorie expenditure, which in turn is one half of the formula for fat loss to be accrued. The other half being the amount of calories that you're consuming. If the amount of calories that you're consuming is less than the amount of calories that you're burning off, you will be losing fat. But that being said, it's probably not the most efficient way of doing so. And the amount of calories that you're burning off is actually the least valuable thing about exercise. Me going to the gym to exercise for the sole purpose of burning off calories is also like me jumping in a car, going for a drive for the sole purpose of burning off diesel. It's the least valuable thing about it. And you could actually go about losing fat by never, ever, ever exercising. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't exercise. I'm not saying that you shouldn't go to the gym, because I actually preach it all the time at how important going to the gym and how important exercising is for the fat loss process. But the thing is, exercise isn't actually the main driver of fat loss. It helps, don't get me wrong, it contributes towards it, but you could lose fat by never stepping foot in the gym in your life. All you've got to do is just eat less calories and go for more walks, thus improving your caloric expenditure. Think of it like this. The amount of calories somebody burns off in a regular day is usually portrayed as being your total daily energy expenditure. And your total daily energy expenditure is just a very fancy way of literally saying that. It's the amount of calories somebody burns in a regular day, because a calorie is just a unit of energy, much like a minute being a unit of time or a meter being a unit of distance. Now, your TDEE, your total daily energy expenditure, is usually cut up into multiple different parts. Firstly, you've got a massive slog of a part known as your basal metabolic rate. Now, your basal metabolic rate is something that you can't really directly impact. It's usually the amount of calories that you're burning off by doing jack shit, basically enough to keep the lights on. You sat on the settee all day and did nothing, literally nothing, just sat there, that would be a fair representation of your basal metabolic rate. Now, this takes up 70% of the amount of calories that you burn off in a regular day. 70%. Now, the second half of your TDEE is something that you do have control over. This is known as your non-resting energy expenditure. Firstly, at a massive 15% of your overall energy expenditure, you have your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, or your NEAT for short. And this is just a posh way of saying the amount of calories that you burn off by being active, by doing things other than resting. You know, when you walk around the house, or when you're pacing on the phone, or when you need to walk to the shops or walk to work, that is your NEAT. Taking up 10% of your overall energy expenditure is something known as the thermic effect of food. Now, when we eat food, our bodies need to actually use calories in order to digest, absorb, store, and utilize the food that we're eating. So do you know when you eat a lot of meat, let's say you go to like a steakhouse and you end up sweating quite a lot, that's because your body is actually burning off calories just to eat it through the use of heat. Protein actually has the highest thermic effect. There's no accurate, universally agreed method of working out how many calories somebody will burn off when eating a particular food, but they guess that around 10 to 20% of the calories that you consume from eating protein alone is burned off literally by eating it. So if you eat 100 calories worth of protein, you're actually only intaking about 80 calories of that, because 20 of them are being used literally through the thermic effect of food by eating it. And finally, a measly 5% of them calories that you burn off in a regular day is through exercise. 5%, that is the smallest amount of anything that you do. Now, once again, I'm not saying that exercise and training is useless, but what I am saying is, relative to everything else that you're doing in the day, it actually contributes the smallest amount towards your calorie expenditure, and therefore it contributes the smallest amount towards your fat loss efforts. So this isn't really why you should be exercising. You shouldn't be exercising or training for the sole purpose of burning calories and therefore losing fat. You should be exercising and training for its other more valuable purposes. For example, weight training will help you build muscle, and muscle has an interesting shape to it. Firstly, it's denser than fat, so it will take up less room. So if you lose a kilogram worth of fat and replace it with a kilogram worth of muscle, you will actually appear slimmer because muscle takes up less room than fat. Additionally, light hits muscle differently to fat, so you'll actually get that toned, slim, athletic appearance that quite a lot of people look for. You'll also get stronger. Now, who doesn't want to be stronger? Not only will it allow you to be more badass in the gym, but it's incredibly functional outside of the gym. I hate that word, functional. I hate that word so much. I can't believe I just used it. It's functional outside of the gym. So getting stronger will allow you to do things that you probably can't do now. For example, helping people move into the house, or carrying your newborn baby around, or doing the shopping. It genuinely makes your quality of life improve a little bit more by just being stronger. It's also incredible for mental health. So I actually did a thesis at uni about using exercise as at least a palliative treatment to depression in adolescents. Not only that, there's also been massive amount of research recently done on exercise combating depression, and in some countries they're actually using it as a sole treatment for depression and anxiety, alongside or just all out replacing the usual antidepressants. So it'll improve your quality of life by training and exercising. Additionally, yeah, there's more, trust me on this, you're going to be building muscle, as I said previously, and muscle is much more metabolic than fat. It's actually the most metabolic tissue in our body. And what that basically means is it requires more calories to function. So if you have an 80 kilogram man who is, never been exercising before, not really got any muscle on him, quite fat, and an 80 kilogram man who is the opposite, who's got quite a bit of muscle on him, the 80 kilogram man with more muscle in him will probably be burning more calories off than the 80 kilogram man with no muscle, because muscle is way more metabolic. If you get an 80 kilogram man who is more muscle than fat and an 80 kilogram man who is more fat than muscle, they're going to look so much different. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to post a little bit of a picture here of, I don't know, who's probably either going to be a man or a woman, I don't know. One of them is a certain weight with more muscle and one of them is a certain weight with more fat. See how much different they look? I really hope I got that one right. That is what exercise and training does. Sure, it will contribute a little bit towards caloric expenditure, but not much. So once again, this is not me saying don't exercise, don't train. In fact, it's the complete opposite. I'm saying don't go to the gym, don't exercise for the sole intention of using it as a way to burn calories and therefore lose fat. Look at your nutrition and your activity and your protein intake as a way to create your calorie deficit, and then use the gym alongside it to start sculpting your body, to start building muscles, to start getting stronger, and just to improve your quality of life. Because there's a quote that I seen on the internet the other day, and even though it's not the most PC fucking quote of all time, I don't give a shit, I'm just going to say it. It said, if you try and lose fat without exercising, then you are just going to be a skinny version of your fat self. And it's so, so true. Because you are going to lose fat, sure. But what have you got underneath? You won't have any muscle, you won't have any strength, your quality of life probably won't have improved. But if you lose fat whilst building muscle, whilst getting stronger, going to the gym, exercising alongside it, not only are you going to look incredible, but you're going to feel it as well. And that is how you enjoy the gym, enjoy exercising a little bit more, and ultimately feel a little bit more empowered, a little bit more inspired, and overall better about your fat loss journey. I hope this video has helped. If it has, feel free to give it a like. It helps me out more than you'll ever know. Feel free to leave a comment below if you want to talk about it. If you've got any questions, I'd be more than happy to talk it through, because as you can probably tell, I can talk for England. And if you want to catch the next one, feel free to subscribe to this channel. If you want any more free fat loss or fitness-based content with zero of the bullshit that you see in the industry at the moment, feel free to follow my Instagram at k.p_health. In the meantime, have a good one. Take care.